could be a way for them to do that without having to give up full-time work and go back to university. So there's a lot of different routes in, but we can work with you to look at what's appropriate for your business. This is just a snapshot. I mentioned before that we work with over 350 businesses. This is just a snapshot of some of our employer partners that we have. And we're expanding our client base all the time for graduate apprenticeships. So why are they a great opportunity? Well, I'm going to rattle through these really quickly, and then you can hear from our graduate apprentices and the business partner as to why they're a great opportunity. So the benefits to business. They identify you as a learning organisation. The GA experience is structured and supported, and actually your business learns. You get the latest education into your business at the same time. Bring in new skill sets and fresh perspectives, improve the quality of your service. We know that apprentices are good for business because they are employees who tend to be retained and stay for longer with the business, which is good for business because they don't have the same staff turnover, and they help existing employees to enhance skills. I'm not going to go into those in detail. I'll let Mark explain that to you from Leonardo's perspective and the benefits that they've seen. And for candidates, you get your honours degree. It's the same level of qualification as if you had gone to university for 4 years. You can fast track your career. We have numerous examples of graduate apprentices who are promoted whilst they're studying. That can present other challenges, but it's a really good example of careers being fast tracked. Don't have any student loan debt, and you don't have any course fees for yourself or your employer, so it's a win-win there. You get paid whilst you are studying because you're working as well, and you do have student status with university, so you get access to everything. But most importantly, you get to develop your skills, so it's not just the academic learning. You get to put your learning into practice in real life situations, and you really get to develop your meta skills and your soft skills whilst you're studying in your workplace as well. So I think that is all from me, and I am now going to, that's just our contact details, and we'll share these after the event. But I'm going to hand you over to Mark and a couple of really strong examples of how graduate apprenticeships are unlocking potential for Leonardo. So Mark, over to you.
Hi everyone. Now I'm going to really talk quite fast because my internet's been going in and out, so I'm hoping you can catch me. And if you don't, I really apologise for really having bad internet down in Dumfries. So I'm the early careers business partner for UK Leonardo. So I look after all the UK electronics and cyber sites, in which Edinburgh is our biggest site. Within the Edinburgh site, we have over 104 apprentices. So for us, that's a mixture of graduate and MA. For us, that equates to about 5% of our workforce within the Edinburgh site are apprentices. So for us, we are really kind of backing these apprenticeships. This is going to be our succession planning. We have got an ageing population, but we also have got like kind of really top the edge technology that we're working with, and obviously the apprentices, we'll discuss that when we get to them. So just a wee bit about our mission is to be the international aerospace defence and security company that best enables its customers to success by thinking creatively and working with passion. So that's a bit about where we are in our mission. Derek, if you want to go into the next slide, that would be great. So our business is kind of split into kind of 4 main areas. We've got helicopters, defence, electronics and security, aeronautics and space. The bit that I look after is defence and electronics and security, and which that's where all the work comes from, Edinburgh area. So I'll go into that a bit more in detail. So again, different divisions within that include helicopters, aircraft, aerostructures, electronics and cyber security. So I mean, a wee bit of stats around there. We're not just a small company bringing in lots of kind of revenue, kind of lots of orders. I believe that we've got 4.5 years worth of orders within the Edinburgh site alone available. We have got over 2,000 people working within the Edinburgh site. So yeah, definitely a big site and a lot of things happening within the business. Derek, if you want to go to the next one for a minute. again, that's we just spoke about kind of where we are within the Edinburgh site, but as you can see there, we are actually UK and worldwide. So I mean, we do supply a lot of companies. We have also got a lot of regional offices, and we do offer our apprentices opportunities to travel around the world to go to some of these sites. I have actually just spoken to an apprentice who has just came back from Nevada, which is nice. I wish it was me that was going, but we'll just give them the opportunity. So it's absolutely fantastic that we're kind of working globally with lots of different suppliers and also working with a lot of different organisations. Thanks, Derek, if you don't mind. So within the UK, we have 7,500 employees. But plus, obviously, the kind of suppliers that we work with is kind of equates to about 19,000 people that are kind of working in kind of conjunction with us. So for us, there is a hell of a lot of spend there within the UK economy, which equates to about over £600 million. And as you can see there from the top, we are really top heavy, and we kind of really do kind of cherish the kind of experience of bringing in apprentices and graduates into our organisation as we kind of continue to grow. Derek, if you don't mind going on to the next bit. So for
has Mark dropped off there?
Yeah, I think we've lost Mark.
I tell you what.
Derek, you hear me there?
Sorry, Mark. Yeah, got you back.
Ask me back on. Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll take my camera off just in case it's a problem with me having my camera on.
Sure.
So I just kind of was covering off some of the things that we do within the Edinburgh site, but as you can see that we are kind of UK wide, and I look after the Basildon, Southampton, Luton and Lincoln and Bristol sites. Yeovil is a bit specialist, and it's more kind of based around helicopters, which is run by a separate team within the business. So a wee bit of numbers at the side there are the UK's biggest sensor provider to the military aircraft, second largest defence equipment supplier to the UK Ministry of Defence, and the third biggest UK defence. So just a wee bit of where we are. Derek, if you don't mind going on to the next one. Or David, sorry. So I'm not going to go into these too much because I haven't got a clue what they all are, and hopefully the apprentices will be able to tell us what they all are. But kind of the parts of the business that we look after are kind of electronics and cybersecurity. So I'll just quickly go through that one, and we'll kind of just leave that one if that's okay. So a wee bit about our history. So from Edinburgh site, we started in 1943. So this year we are celebrating 80 years within the Edinburgh site, and we've stayed in that same site pretty much since we started. We have changed names throughout the years. Some might be familiar with some of you around like BA Systems, Celex, Marconi, and just in the last 10 years moved over to Leonardo. And this is kind of some of the technology that we're working with. Now, what's really fascinating is within the Edinburgh site, we actually are still working with some of the technology from old, which is absolutely fantastic. So it gives our apprentices, obviously, but also working with old and existing technology, which we still supply and kind of offer maintenance on. So this year, big celebration for us around that big 80 years, which is absolutely fantastic. David, this is just a wee bit of a graphic, if you like, some of the kind of technology that we're working towards, and this is a bit of a partnership agreement with us, with the UK Ministry of Defence, the BA Systems, MBDR and so on. And what we are doing is we are working on this joint venture for the new technology of the future. So I mean, quite exciting times for our apprentices. Obviously, being involved in that is absolutely fantastic, and we would hope that all apprentices will have an opportunity to work within this programme throughout their kind of length of apprenticeship, and also be able to kind of continue to work with us after the programmes. David? This is just a wee bit about early careers and where we are just now. So as it is just now, we have got over 200 apprentices across electronics and cyber. Of that, Edinburgh is our biggest site. We are in the thick of recruitment just now. We are hoping to recruit 101 new apprentices across all the sites this year. What that equates to in Edinburgh is 57. So we're still in kind of the process of trying to do that. We're not all just about apprenticeships. We also have graduates and industrial placements and work experience options. And that kind of means that we're bringing in that kind of continuous pipeline of people. And we're continuing to grow of forecast within electronics and cyber, with the plan being up to 400 apprentices within electronics and cyber by 2027, which is not that far away now, which is quite scary. Areas that we're looking for apprenticeships are software engineering graduate apprenticeships, business graduate apprentices, manufacturing apprentices, manufacturing technical apprentices, business apprentices, and design engineering graduate apprentices. So what I will do is I will put in the chat a link to our early careers page. And on that, you can see the closing date for our apprenticeships this year is the 23rd of March, which isn't that far away. And these guys will be starting with us in the business in August, so quite exciting times ahead. And the last slide that I've got up is just a kind of thank you very much for your attention. The QR code there is a kind of link to a kind of case study kind of brochure that we've got for all things early careers, and there should be a lot of information on there around what we do and why we do it, pretty much. So other than that, I will pass you over to Jake, and I'm very sorry for my internet, and thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, Mark. Over to you, Jake.
Hiya, I'm Jake, and today I'm just going to take you through my experience so far at Leonardo. So just quickly, in this presentation, I'm just going to cover my current role at Leonardo, the background on what I studied at high school, and how I got into the GA course, how I found out about the GA course, what attracted me to studying this way, balancing university life and work with Leonardo work, and then just a quick summary of everything. So my current job role is I'm a third-year software engineer graduate apprentice. I work within a small team, which works within a larger team called Osprey, and we work on the software that is used to help run and test the Osprey radar systems, which is used by search and rescue crews across the globe. At university, as I'm a third-year apprentice, I'm also a third-year student. The degree I'm doing is software development for business. This is a modified degree as it's got some extra business modules included, and some of them are sort of cut down so that we can get through all our university work while also maintaining balance at work. Yep. So at high school, I studied physics, computer science, maths, music technology, and engineering at higher, which gave me a good baseline for computing science and engineering science. Before I joined the GA program, I actually studied for 2 years as an undergrad at Heriot-Watt as a computer science with software engineering degree. I found out this was available, so I applied. Next slide, please. So how I found out about the GA program was through Heriot-Watt. I received plenty of emails from current GAs and the department heads, so to say, just saying there's these GA programs, you should have a look at them. At high school, a former student who now works for Leonardo came to school and gave the 5th and 6th years a talk about the GA programs available to us, and that sort of stuff at Leonardo. And then through my own research by visiting multiple different sites to sort of learn what the GA programs were about and whether they were a good match for me. Next slide, please. So what attracted me to this degree? It was the fact that I'd be able to work while also earning my degree. It would allow me to effectively put what I learn at university immediately into practice at work and gain insight from professionals already in that degree. It also, the social side of things attracted me as it allowed me to talk to people who are in the same situation as me, who don't necessarily want to do like a 4 years at university and then wait for a job. It allows me to do both at the same time. and it also gives me like a bit of a step up as I've been working throughout the entire time. Next slide, please. So balancing work life and university work can be a struggle sometimes, but it's pretty good. So for 3 days a week, we're on site in Edinburgh doing our day-to-day Leonardo work. We get one protected self-study day, which is where you go through all your notes, get your coursework done, that sort of stuff. And then we've got 1 day in university where we go in or attend online and go through all our lectures. And then with university work, it's really easy to apply what you learn. For example, in second year, I learned C++, which just so happens to be the language we're using currently in my team, which has allowed me to gain a great insight into the language and better understand the language and increase my skills in it. It also helps provide a solid baseline for any future work-based projects that come across. Next slide, please. And then, quick summary, I would 100% recommend it. It's been amazing, genuinely. Yep.
Thanks, Jake. Marina, over to you.
Hello, my name's Arina, and I'm going to be talking about my experience at Leonardo since joining only in August of last year. So obviously I'm going to give a little summary. I'll be discussing stuff like my course at Heriot-Watt, the background before I joined this apprenticeship, how I found out about it and what really made me interested in it, and just any other general topics. So currently, I'm a first-year apprentice and I work within a small team that creates and develops protective technology. As I'm a first-year apprentice, I'm also a first-year student, and I do the same degree as Jake. I do software development for business, which is a bachelor's degree. In this degree, we have software modules as well as business modules, which is equivalent to all other uni students, but ours is just slightly altered and slightly smaller to fit in 1 day, which I have lectures from 9 to 5 that day, and I just learn all of it. Overall, I was very surprised joining this apprenticeship about how understanding my manager was about how I only really had high school programming experience, and he was supporting and willing to help, and I had made so many great contacts. And even though the work was challenging, it was a great learning curve that I learned a lot from in only the first 2 or 3 months of being here. So my background before joining Leonardo, I did 5 hires. So I did maths, English and biology, business management, and computer science. These allowed me to get the grades I needed to get into Leonardo. And then in the final year, I also proceeded to do biology, business management, and computer science as advanced hires. I also, every lunchtime in my last year of high school, I ran a girls' computing club during lunchtimes for younger high school years and younger girls. And this allowed me to get a STEM leader certification, which is another thing that I've been pursuing at Leonardo since being here. So I found out about the GA course through a lot of research because I ended up visiting many websites and I spoke with many people, many careers advisors, many teachers, even spoke to my parents and my friends to gain opinions, advice, and help. And I also, the 2 most important websites for me were the Heriot-Watt website and UCAS, as they had so much information and so much stuff for me to read up upon. But ultimately, I found Leonardo's apprenticeship and applied through apprenticeships.scot. So I found I was really attracted to this degree as it provided me with the degree I exactly wanted. I really wanted to do software development for business, and I didn't find many other universities that offered this specific degree. And me being able to get 4 years of work experience alongside that just seemed like the perfect option for me, at least. There are so many things that I really wanted to pursue, such as STEM, that I managed to do at Leonardo, as well as learning and working, and it was amazing. I also found that before joining, I thought that I was going to be, maybe very alone because I wasn't being at university, meeting many new people. But there's so many apprentices here, and I definitely didn't miss out on any social aspects whatsoever either, as everyone helps each other out and apprentices mingle from 1st to 4th year. The same as Jake, I'm in the office 3 days a week. I'm in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I have 1 protected study day where I focus on my learning, catch up on anything, or maybe even learn ahead. I also have 1 university day that I attend either online or in person. I've heard that it can be quite difficult to balance, especially from the older apprentices, but this does very much depend person to person. Some people might struggle with it and some people might not whatsoever. I have only had issues around exam time because I had many deadlines coming up and I had a lot of deadlines at work at the same time. So Leonardo offered me a lot of support and they allowed me an extra day off to catch up on my university work, which was really helpful. And I felt all of my managers and apprentice managers were really great contacts to talk to. I also managed to apply C++, which I learned at university that I hadn't learned before, and I managed to apply it at work, which I thought was really useful as the stuff that I was learning at university, I could also bring back into my job that I was doing the other 3 days a week. I also had other modules that allowed me to understand the protective technology project that I'm currently working on and was working on previously as well, to understand it better and make a great base for my learning and progression at work. Overall, I would definitely recommend this apprenticeship. I've made so many unbelievable experiences and memories and so much hands-on learning that I do not think that you would be able to get this anywhere else. There's so much support around you and I'm really happy with my choices of joining. Yeah. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks, Irina. Yeah, listen, thanks. Thanks to all the speakers, but obviously, especially to Jake and Irina it's always great to hear the insight directly from our graduate apprentices, particularly when they seem to be having such a great experience so far in their graduate apprenticeship journey. So, if I just do this, what I'll do is we'll just stop sharing just now. And as I mentioned at the start of the call, so there's a lot of great information there on Young Persons Guarantee, graduate apprenticeships, and it's great to hear from our colleagues at Leonardo. So I'd really just like to open up the floor now to some questions. As I said, you can either dump these into the chat or you can put your hand up. I'll keep an eye out if anybody wants to ask a question. But please, yeah, feel free to ask a question to Claire, Jen, Mark, and Jake and Irina. Jen.
Shall I go first whilst
Sure.
everybody's thinking of the questions that they want to ask? I just wanted to say thanks to Irina and Jake. I know that we met when you were doing your induction. It's fantastic to come back a few months later and hear what an experience you're having, and also what a contribution you're making to the business already. You know, whether your first year or third year, it sounds as if you're really making, you know, being able to apply your learning to real world problems, parts of the business. Is that's phenomenal, and it's clearly working for yourselves as well as it's working for business. So well done, guys. You're an absolute credit to yourselves and to Leonardo. I was just going to say some of the questions that employers sometimes ask us, just whilst people are thinking of questions, are, oh, it's only March. You know, is it too early to think about a graduate apprenticeship for September? I've got plenty of time if I'm recruiting someone. I would say it's never too early to have the conversations. The time between now and September goes really, really quickly. So if it's something that you're thinking about, I would encourage you to get in touch with us and have that conversation early as an employer, because it does take a bit of time to set things up. You might need to influence other decision makers in your business. And if there's a recruitment involved, we know how challenging that can be. So I just wanted to kind of kick off by saying that. But I don't know if we have any questions yet, David.
I can't see any. Not yet. This would be a first.
There is no such thing as a silly question. Chances are, if you're thinking of something, then everybody else is wondering about that as well. But maybe we've covered everything that you need to know.
Well, okay. Well, we're also just waiting for a question. Yes. So what we'll do is following today's session, we shall have the recording available, so we can send that round, and there'll obviously be a copy of the slides in there, which will contain all that extra information. So the information from Mark, contact details for Claire, and the contact details from the GA team. So yeah, so you'll get all that as part of the follow-up. And yeah, please feel free to share that with anyone in your respective organisations that you think may benefit from catching this on demand, so to speak. So yeah, please feel free to share that with your colleagues.
So I'll ask a question of our audience who've joined us today. How many of you currently have apprentices in your business at the moment? You can maybe just pop a line in the chat to indicate if apprentices would be new to your business, or if you currently support apprentices in your business. And then I guess part two of it is how many businesses are either already supporting the Young Person's Guarantee or would consider kind of signing up based on what you've heard. Caroline, you have a question.
Not really. I was just going to say that we have modern apprentices in Falkirk Council, and we also have graduates that we take on, but we have never had a graduate apprentice scheme. But I suppose my question is, I know you said that there was no cost to the employer. Who actually funds the scheme then?
So it's funded. Ultimately, it's Scottish Government that funds it. It comes through. There's an organisation that provides funding to the universities. Called SAS. That's how the funding comes through to us. So you have to meet the SAS eligibility criteria for funding. So the candidate would apply for pre-approval. So you'd have a look at the graduate apprenticeship programme that you're interested in, look at your qualifications against the entry requirements, make a pre-approval application to ourselves at Heriot-Watt. We'd give you pre-approval that you are accepted onto the programme of study, and you have to provide confirmation of your funding eligibility. The funding doesn't come through the candidate or through the business, it comes directly to the university. So there's a bit of a process that's behind it, but it's funded ultimately by the government.
Thank you.
Hi, Emily. Would you like to
Hey.
speak?
Hey, I'm Emily. Now, I work for a small business. It's pretty small. So your examples of these amazing people, Jake and Arena, have been for a large company, Leonardo, which sounds amazing. Do you know how successful this program is within small businesses, you know, who do want to take on a graduate apprenticeship? Do you have any examples or, yeah?
Thanks,
Yep.
Emily.
Thanks, Emily. I'll take that question, shall I, David?
Yes, please.
We do have businesses of all sizes. What we would do, Emily, is we would have a chat with you about your own specific circumstances. You do need to be able to provide a work-based mentor for the person who's doing the graduate apprenticeship, so that they can get the support from the business. There are examples across all the programmes of businesses of different sizes that have had success with graduate apprenticeships, but the best way to look at your own circumstances is to have a specific follow-up call.
Amazing.
If that's okay.
Yeah, no, I think that we would love that. So maybe even if it's not now, but perhaps in the future, we could set that up. Thank you.
One of the team will get in touch with you to set that up, and we can look at particularly what you're interested in the structure of your business.
Amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jen, there's one there come in about apprenticeships for chemistry courses. So I suppose the short answer is not on a graduate apprenticeship.
Not on a graduate apprenticeship at the moment. We work to the frameworks that are set nationally. So currently there aren't any that are specifically related to chemistry at the moment. It would depend on if it was one of the degree programmes in a kind of chemistry related business, whether or not that would be viable. So there's no specific chemistry graduate apprenticeships at the moment. I think there's a few more have flashed into the chat, but I haven't managed to keep up with them.
Yes, so there's a comment there from Laura from University of Edinburgh, just talking about how they've already signed up for the Young Person's Guarantee, and I've got modern and foundation apprentices, and that GAs are something they're looking into, which is great to hear. That's great, Sophie. Sorry, Laura, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. We'd be happy to have a conversation with you about how we can support that. And Sophie, was it yourself who? Yes, it was. It was you who asked about the chemistry programme. Yes, we would consider it. It depends on the national frameworks. Universities can only deliver the frameworks that are available nationally, so it depends on developing a framework that is around chemistry, and that drive comes from industry. Derek, I see you've added something to that as well. It might
yeah,
be.
Sorry, Jen.
No, carry on.
I'll keep my camera off for broadband, but I was just asking if Sophie could elaborate, because although it's not chemistry, there are chemistry elements in some of the frameworks. So, for example, the chemical engineering, and I'm just thinking for the future, it helps us to develop future delivery based on what the needs of industry is. So chemistry and chemical engineering, it's just to differentiate between them, just to get clarity.
Thanks, Derek. See if Sophie put something in. Okay, so not for the Edinburgh site. I wonder if I could just put a question to Jake and Arena. Just going back on, Jen, you've mentioned a couple of times about the importance of the mentor. I don't know if Jake, Arena, can you just share some insight into how you work with your particular workplace mentor and sort of just how that comes about at Leonardo?
Yeah, so I have a weekly meeting with my mentor just to go over everything that I've done that week, and if I've ran into any like hiccups with any of my projects. And then throughout the week, I do send quite a few messages asking for help on a few of my projects, but he's been really supportive and has taught me a lot about the project I'm currently working on and a lot about networking, because that is one thing that I've always struggled with, but I'm starting to properly understand it now thanks to him mentoring me on it.
Stuff.
My situation is a little bit different because I sit basically opposite my mentor. Like our desks are very close together, and so I just ask him questions. If I'm struggling with something, if I've got an error in my code, I'll just look over him and be like, "Can you come and help me out?" And he'll come and help me out. And if either of us aren't in the office, we can just message each other and just find out like how he can help. And he's also very involved in all of the STEM events that I do, so we also can bond and discuss over that. And he's very helpful with the uni work and providing support with me for me as well. So I would say we just have more of a small conversations, but very frequently. That's what we do.
Great, thanks. I think that's a good example of something we come across regularly on these kind of sessions we're on, is the different approaches, and it just really comes down to what works best for the individual apprentice and the mentor and the organisation. So yes, it's interesting to hear that, albeit similar-ish type of roles, different approaches to the mentor, which is great. Thanks for that. We've got a couple of minutes left, folks. So if there's any final questions, I think Mark's got off very lightly here, to be fair. He's probably not complaining. If there's any, so we've got a couple of minutes. As I say, we'll get the follow-up done, the slides and the recording out. I'm just going to give it one more minute for any final questions, and then we can close it off. In the meantime, I'd just like to say thanks to everyone that joined the call today in terms of the attendees. Thanks, Claire. Thanks for your time this morning. Thanks, Jen. And thanks particularly to our colleagues from Leonardo. Thanks, Mark, for joining the session, and to you, Jake and Arena, thanks very much for your contribution today. It was excellent, so thanks very much. So I think if you're happy there, we can close it there. You happy, Jen? Good stuff. Okay, everybody, thanks very much. It's a busy week, Scottish Apprenticeship Week, so I'm sure we've all got lots to do. Thanks again for joining us, and we hope to speak to you soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks, David.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.